This is Mark Berman for Sure Local News. I'm here in Atlantic City, and I am doing this interview in one of the coolest spaces. This is the coolest condo, and I'm sitting with one amazing, very talented artist, writer. We're talking to Lennox Warner, and he just came out with a collection of his poetry called Mother's Milk. We're in conversation with Lennox Warner right now. Lennox, welcome to Sure Local.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
You're incredible. I followed your works. I've seen your installations throughout the town. And let's talk about your poetry first. Tell us about Mother's Milk.
Mother's Milk is kind of reflection on growing up. And now Mother's Milk is part of the whole, everybody that lives off of Mother's Milk at the beginning. So that sort of consolidated in my mind to name all my poems after Mother's Milk.
And you said from growing up.
Right.
So you, I read in your bio, are from the West Indies. Where?
I'm from Montserrat in the West Indies.
Tell us about growing up in Montserrat.
Montserrat is a place which is very hilly or very mountainous. It's a small island. Everybody basically know everybody or interlocked in family somehow. Sometimes we are feuding with each other. Sometimes we are family with each other. More likely than not, probably feuding with each other. Back in the 50s, there's a big migration. There's always been migration out from Montserrat, as you may understand. When my parents started to move out, we all went to live with our grandmother at some point or the other. And my grandmother and grandfather had this place in the countryside, which was St. Peter's, Virgin Island area of Montserrat. And that was really, all our relatives actually went through there at some point or the other. And at that time, people were coming and going, and we were little kids just growing up on the area there.
So with Mother's Milk, inspirations came from your growing up in Montserrat.
Right.
You live in Atlantic City.
Yes. Can
you tell us a little bit about some of the subjects that you've written poetry about? Well, the reason I'm saying that is you just described Montserrat as an island where they get along and they feud.
Right, right.
So you're from that island, but you live on this island. Yeah. Hey, it's the same thing here, Lennox.
I basically exchange one island for another. One is tropical and one is an island of lights, which is Atlantic City is now an island of lights. It always was an island of lights because I'm talking about neon lights.
Sure.
In the past, and now it's casino lights now. It was neon lights back. I actually moved to Atlantic City in 1980 for the casino business. I was actually living in New York. I had graduated from Baruch College with a 4-year degree in actually business. And I was looking around in New York for a job, and I said, you know what, why am I in New York? It was just crazy. And Atlantic City was just opening up, so I just booked up with my $200 in my pocket and came to Atlantic City.
And you stayed.
And I stayed.
It's 2021. You're still here.
I'm still here.
And we love that because you understand Atlantic City. Right. Is there anything in here about Atlantic City in Mother's Milk available on Amazon? And we'll give you all the links later.
Yeah, the Storm Sandy is one. I wrote a poem about Storm Sandy and what happened when Storm Sandy came in.
And Lennox, in your dedication in Mother's Milk, you write, Granny told us many Nancy stories in the late evening.
Yes.
But watch out for Papa. He did not spare us the strap if we did not do right.
Yeah. Well, it's that generation wasn't. I wouldn't say they loved you, but they weren't sentimental, and they felt that you had to do the right thing. You had to be a man, even though you was a child. You had to know what the responsibilities as a child. So if you was even a child, and you wasn't doing the right thing as an adult would, you get the strap. If you were, like for example, my grandfather would say, look, you go to school, do your studies, and you come right back home. None of this running around up the street with the kids and playing and that. And I unfortunately didn't listen too well. And back then, if the strap wasn't available, there was always a switch somewhere. And you got that.
Now see, that could be something you didn't realize because you were a kid,
Right.
okay, in Montserrat.
Right.
But you didn't know, by you not listening, you were destined to end up in Atlantic City.
Absolutely. That's one of my flaws.
It was your future. It had been written back then, Lennox.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is, I'm in Atlantic City, and I keep looking at the options of where would be the best place to live outside of Atlantic City. So I've traveled over the last couple of years to Chicago, Pennsylvania, Florida, Massachusetts, well, obviously New York and New England. And I've always come back to Atlantic City, and I'm like, okay, I've traveled there, but where would I really want to be besides here? I really don't want to be, I don't want to be in the suburbs. I lived in Galloway Township for about 4 or 5 years, and that was probably one of the worst mistakes I made. I mean, not because of Galloway Township, but actually living in the suburbs. Because I found out what a suburbs was, and a suburb is a miserable place. You don't meet any of your neighbors. For one thing, because your neighbors leave the house at 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock, and they come home. The kids don't play in the street, so you don't meet any of the kids anyway. That's the thing, you never meet your neighbors. Because one person is, like, especially with the casino industry, one person was working nights, the other person was working days, and you're working weekends, somebody else is not working weekends, so you never really met anybody. And when I came back to Atlantic City, not that I was looking to meet anybody that much, but there's more of a camaraderie in Atlantic City. Like, for example, when Storm Sandy came, I didn't evacuate the island. I stayed here. I stayed right here, which maybe was a stupid thing to do. I don't think I would do that again, because now I know what a storm can really do. But I mean, I went down to that pub that's right there by the police station on the corner.
Oh, you went to the Baltimore Grill.
Baltimore Grill.
Oh, yes, sir.
It's amazing. I went to the Baltimore Grill, and all of Atlantic City was in Baltimore Grill. People that I'd never even said hello to before, we were there chitting and chatting, like we knew each other forever. And that's amazing. But when you live in the suburbs, you really don't have that.
I would love to have you read Storm Sandy 2012 Poetics.
Storm Sandy 2012. Evacuate, evacuate. Run, 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 run for your life. Midnight storm comes to block out the night. Run, 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 run for your life. Storm Sandy will kill. Storm Sandy will maim. Storm Sandy will take you home. Write your name on the bottom of your shoes. Flashes of light on the horizon. This is the storm of the century. The highest grueling waves of the century. The biggest storm of the century. Run, 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 run for your life. Evacuate, evacuate. A wandering flurry of rain came by with an annoying pitter-pitter, pitter-patter in the late evening. Sitting in the bullseye, no time to evacuate, no time to rescue the feral cats that live under the boardwalk. The old man that fed them has been evacuated to another town, deep inland. Dragonflies and greenhead flies went into hiding. In the tall dune grass that lined the beaches, the gamblers have gone, the tourists have gone, the seasonal workers have gone. Most residents have gone. Gone to the roadway, gone to the expressway, gone to the parkway, gone far away from Storm Sandy's wrath. Sitting in the bullseye, only I and my art remaining. No one to see it, everyone was gone. Wings spread out wide, the lone seagull glided into the air, bemoaning this storm. The green trees of summer had to shred their leaves before the fall, before sap's energy reaches the trunk. The sadness of the storm is yet to come. As the sun stays hidden behind the clouds. It is now 8:30 p.m. Friday. Streets of flooded waters, traffic lights blinking, water everywhere in the streets and alleyways. Too much to bear, the storm is coming, Sandy is near. The deluge to come did not come, turning to the north, wreaking havoc, crushing homes and piers, washing away bulkheads and sand dunes. Hurrah, hurrah, my art is saved. This is a joyful moment for me. Great sadness to others, others who did not evacuate it, others who did not run for their lives. They were lost to Storm Sandy 2012. Sandy has moved on, with his crushing waves still coming to shore. The Northern Star has returned, along with his cohorts, the moon, the galaxies. They are shining brightly from beyond the horizon, from beyond the known universe. And yes, the feral cats did survive Storm Sandy.
What we have here is enlightenment in mother's milk. You can be motivated reading Mother's Milk through the eyes of Lennox Warner, who is logical, down to earth, and lives life with his eyes open. He observes, he experiences, and he shares it with us. This is a brilliant book of poetry. And Lennox Warner, you are an amazing human being, and everything that you bring to the table makes our world a little bit better.
Thank you.
Where can we visit you online? How can we interact with you? Give us your websites and everything that you have for the public.
My website is lennoxwarner.com. That's one word. Some of my artwork is there. I think basically Facebook is probably one of the better places to...
Lennox Warner on Facebook.
Lennox Warner on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram.
I thank you for spending a few minutes with me here on Sure Local News, and we will be out there following when you have an installation. We'll be out there to promote and get people out to see it.